Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Brockopp side. Bohemian Rhapsody was directed by Bryan until they fired his ass and replaced him with Dexter Fletcher the last few weeks of production. Anyway, the movie is a rock biopic about the band Queen, but mainly focuses on Freddie Mercury, played by Malek. So you know what, let's just dive right into it. Rami Malek absolutely kills it as Freddie Mercury. He's got the look down to a T with the mustache and the enlarged dentures, and he just brings the songs to life with an energy that you would expect from Freddie Mercury, and it just sucked me right into every single musical performance in the movie, and there's quite a few of them. They play pretty much every single famous Queen song you could think of. So Rami Malek as Freddie Mercury is by far the best part of this entire movie. Speaking of the musical performances, I loved every single one of them. You know, sometimes I forget just how many incredibly famous songs Queen has made over the years, and I just loved every single one of these performances. I was just so immersed in it, and I felt like I was actually there in those concerts. It probably helps that I saw the movie in IMAX, but still. And I could tell it felt like a concert because there was a lot of loud music and I went home with a splitting headache. But the headache was worth it. But those things aside, this movie does take a few creative liberties with the story of Queen, which, you know, is kind of expected because when you're trying to compact the story of one of the most famous bands of all time into a 2-hour movie, you're gonna have to embellish a little bit and cram a few things together. Some of it is pretty obvious, like certain major events at the beginning of the movie happen literally seconds after each other, and also the fact that Mike Myers plays a fictional record producer that Queen was never associated with, because he wasn't real. But the producer was played by Mike Myers, who even references the famous Wayne's World scene with Bohemian Rhapsody. That was a nice little touch, I really liked that. But my biggest problem with the movie is that it just seems like these liberties were taken to cram Queen's story together into a very run-of-the-mill rock biopic movie. These kind of movies often have a formula to them, you pretty much seen in most biopics of this variety, maybe it'll start with some sort of big event, into the, a few years into their career, then we'll flash back to the very beginning, maybe how the musicians are, how they got started, then they get noticed, then they get really big, and there's a montage of a tour, and then they start to have trouble, one character goes way downhill, but then they pick themselves back up for one big finale. So, unfortunately, this movie follows that formula pretty closely, and I think if you're a huge fan of Queen and you want to come into this movie, learning more about Freddie Mercury's life and, some of the more in-depth stuff, then you're gonna be sorely disappointed in this, unfortunately. But you know what, I'm a bit of a sucker for these rock biopics anyhow, but Rami Malek as Freddie Mercury and these great musical performances are what's gonna make me come back to this movie eventually. So all in all, Bohemian Rhapsody has a great lead, and it does nothing new with a movie like this. So, I enjoyed it myself, but if you're a big Queen fan and you're disappointed by this movie, I totally understand. So, those are my thoughts on Bohemian Rhapsody. If you guys have seen the movie, or if you just killed a man, let me know down below, and we'll see you on the Brockopp side.